Venture capital firm CoinFund raises a $158 million new fund to back emerging Web3 startups. This, according to a report in Bloomberg, based on some statements from the firm. So this is interesting, right? Like crypto VC has been in a deep freeze. We have numbers something like 76% down compared to the lofty highs of earlier crypto funding stories. And now we have CoinFund at least raising a new fund. Now, it should be noted that their previous raise, they announced one, I think in 2022, a $300 million raise. So there is significantly less interest as it relates to limited partners writing big checks for CoinFund to invest on their behalf. But it suggests that maybe the crypto VC world is coming out of its deep freeze, thawing a little bit and seeing some opportunity, seeing some green shoots for deploying capital, including fresh capital in this instance. So I think that's kind of interesting, and I'm going to throw it straight to Jen. Is CoinFund crazy here, or are they actually an indicator of maybe the tide turning as it relates to crypto VC investment?
Yeah, I don't think they're crazy. I think this is a really good indicator of the tide turning eventually. I think we need to look at the Crunchbase report with a little bit of context. At this time last year, times were very, very different. There were a lot of big players in the space that are no longer here, and there was a bunch of money and value that now doesn't exist, right? We've been rebuilding since the end of last year. And so I think that comparing this time this year to this time last year, we need to look at some of the events that have happened between then and now to understand where we are. I think because of that, we've highlighted a lot of issues, a lot of problems and challenges in this industry that need to be addressed. And there are people who are building products, who are building companies that are addressing those things. So this CoinFund, raise is going to be allocated to seed and pre-seed companies. I think they are focusing on the companies that are being built out of, some of the challenges and issues that we've experienced. And I think that that's exactly where they should be focused on. I think if we look at some of their most recent investments that were mentioned in the article, there's a focus on cyber threat intelligence, AI, machine learning, layer ones, layer twos. I think that just makes total sense. And this is an indicator of better things to come than we've maybe experienced over the first two quarters of this year. Wendy?
I think that this is just early rumblings of the bull run. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think we're getting ready. And again, we saw all these companies leave the industry, funding stop, everything kind of dried up, but that's kind of typical for a bear market. And it just drives me crazy because I just don't understand how people don't kind of expect that. So I do think that we're not quite there yet, but I think that this is a sign that things are starting to ramp up again. And a lot of the things, Jen, that you just listed that this particular investment firm is focused on kind of resonates and makes sense with some of the things I've been telling my audience on the show, is that pay attention to AI, pay attention to the layer ones, the layer twos, things that actually have valid utility, that solve things, as long as like the digital collectibles, the play to own, those types of things. Keep a close eye on those and to kind of, watch, join their communities, see what makes sense, and then, potentially dive in. But pay attention to the people who are getting money and the areas and sectors that they are focused on. And it's not necessarily a bad time to start that diversification with education.
Lifelong learning. We'd love to hear it. I'm very interested to see what the thesis is from CoinFund and others for this run. I think last time we saw alt L1s were the thing, right? Whether it was Solana or Near, you name it, right? Alternative, speedier, fastier. I can't talk again, Jen. I can't talk again. Fastier chains that do things quickly. That's kind of segueing out of the zeitgeist, right? We're seeing L1s kind of pivot to L2s. The Cello news, I think, drove a lot of conversation around that, right? So very curious to see what that sort of next defining thesis is for a lot of these crypto venture capital funds as they start to deploy capital, hopefully in the early innings of a new bull market.